Welcome to Newspaper Review on Niger Live TV, reaching you from Bielsa's capital city, Yenagoa. My name is Barbie Mkparu. As you know, Newspaper Review is your daily press review, as we will be checking out headlines making the papers. We begin quickly with the Nation newspaper. On the Nation, we see a lead story here. APC aspirants set up big battles for tickets in states. You know, there have been a whole lot going on in the All Progressives Congress, as well as other political parties. But for this headline, you know, there's been a statement where the APC tickets are now seeming like a pay-to-play situation, you know, with a very expensive amounts, with sales of forms, you know, and other members of the party who are not currently part of the government are saying it looks like candidates would be imposed on them, because I mean, with how ridiculous the amount is for the forms, you have to be in the government to be able to have that kind of money to purchase forms. So do well to read through details of that story as it is available in the Nation newspaper. Let's move on with another headline here. Enemies exploiting insecurity to oust me won't succeed. I'll seek second term, says Tinubu. Now that's a statement from the President of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He is saying that at this point, he is sure, not even seem as though, he is sure that that enemies are exploiting insecurity to scare him out of government, to frustrate him so that he doesn't come for a second term. But the president is still pushing. He's still saying he will contest for the 2027 presidential elections. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that and other stories in the paper. Let's move on to the Vanguard newspaper. We'll take a few headlines available on the Vanguard. 2027 polls. Supreme Court to determine PDP ADC fates today. Is it to make or to mar? That's quite a story there. I mean, the People's Democratic Party and the African Democratic Congress, both political parties have been having internal crisis, which led to the involvement of the Supreme Court, you know, having factional leaders, you know, the different fractions inside the same political party, which drew the attention of the Supreme Court, of course. So from by today, the Supreme Court would determine those political parties' fates. Do well to keep yourself informed, to read through details. And another headline here, Lagos 2027. Tinubu endorses Hamzat. Hamzat is the deputy governor of Lagos State. This is Sanwo-Olu's deputy, where we had earlier mentioned that the governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, endorses his deputy to be his successor, his deputy Hamzat. And now a developing story is that Mr. President Tinubu have also endorsed him. So do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. Let's head on to the Punch newspaper. We see a headline on the Punch newspaper that President Tinubu sacks NMDPRA boss amid jet fuel pricing roll. That's the Nigeria Midstream Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Agency. The boss have now been sacked. If my memory serves me right, that's Mr. Sadiu Mohammed. I believe that's the name of the former, we'll call him former now, NMDPRA boss. So sadly, he's been sacked by Mr. President, and this is as a result of the downstream in petrol prices. Considering that the agency which he heads is supposed to checkmate all of these things, and sadly, the jet fuel prices are still not so reasonable. So the president have now sacked him. Do also keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. How we abducted, killed Lagos UTME candidates. That's a confession, or a confession from suspects. You know, it's quite a tragic story. UTME candidates trying to take the papers that would make him know the next path in life, you know, to gain admission to the higher institution, is now being unlived by some persons. Quite a sad story there. We do pray that the soul of the departed rest in peace and justice be served. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story on the paper. Let's head on to the Guardian newspaper. On the Guardian newspaper, we see a headline here in regards to insecurity. Atiku, Tinubu trade blame as U.S. moves to tighten oversight on Nigeria. That's a story there, quite a headline in regards to insecurity, that the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and Tinubu now trade blames as the United States moves to tighten oversight on Nigeria. Do also read through details of that story as it is available in the paper. Let's head on, shall we? Plateau State. Tinubu seeks end to crisis. OK's 2 billion naira relief for victims. That's a story going on in Plateau State. I mean, the residents in the Jos North have suffered, you know, in regards to this insecurity, abduction, rising insurgency, and all, and what have you. So, and we also reported that the president had gone to visit those who were visit the state's governor to also see how well to curb insecurity challenges in the country. You know, about the attack on Easter Sunday that also happened at the Rukuba area in Jos, in Plateau State. So do well to keep yourself informed. And still in regards to that, the president, Bola Tinubu, seeks to end crisis and he okays 2 billion naira relief for victims. Quite a story there. I mean, what to do? It's a good one on the part of Mr. President, but we hope that such insecurity challenges, such tragic news does not come up again, hopefully, by God's grace. Do well to keep yourself informed. Let's move on to the Nigeria Tribune as we will check out a few headlines available in the paper. 2027, Tinubu endorses Hamzat as GAC visits Villa. That's, you know, still in regards to the Lagos State gubernatorial elections, as the deputy governor, the current deputy governor of Lagos State, Hamzat, is now being endorsed by Mr. President. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. 210 trillion naira NNPCL probe. Kyari, Ajia, Wunti, and are ready to testify. That's an outrageous amount of money that that the Senate had. The Senate had to probe, you know, members of the NNPCL to understand what did that money go to, what exactly was it used for. So the likes of Kyari, Ajia, Wunti are ready to testify. Keep yourself informed as you check out details of that story. Let's move on to the Daily Times newspaper. The Daily Times newspaper, we see ADC crisis deepens as court bars INEC from recognizing state caretaker congresses. All right, there's a whole lot going on in the African Democratic Congress, to be very honest. I mean, the crisis from from the rising factional leaders and a whole lot. The ADC crisis deepens as the courts now bars and INEC from recognizing state caretaker congresses going on in that political party. Quite a story. Do well to check out details. Let's move on to the Leadership newspaper. We pick a few headlines available in the Leadership newspaper. Tinubu fires NMDPRA CEO after just 4 months in office. Check out details of that story to keep yourself informed. Petrol prices to rise as Dangote raises gantry rate. We have received a report that the prices, petrol prices now at it was usually previously at 1,200 naira per liter, of course, but we now hear that it has been increased to 1,275 naira per liter, with an increment of 75 naira, almost 5%, 0.5%. So do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. Let's move on to this day newspaper. On this day newspaper, Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu becomes foreign minister, and Saidu Mohammed sacked as NMDPRA's chief executive officer. On the same day that Mr. President sacked Saidu Mohammed, the former NMDPRA's CEO, he also elevated Mrs. Bianca Odumegwu Ojukwu to becoming the Nigeria's foreign minister. A huge congratulations to her, of course. And yeah, that's the story available. Do well to check out details of that story as it is available in the paper. Let's move on. Court delivers verdict in make or mar ADC PDP leadership crisis today. Yes, Supreme Court will be deciding the fate of ADC and the PDP in court today. Check out details of that story. Let's move on to the Blueprint newspaper, shall we? The Blueprint newspaper, we see Tinubu launches Media Literacy Institute and declares war on fake news. That's a welcome development, a very applaudable one on the part of Mr. President, because misinformation, disinformation are really killers of peace and stability in a country. So fake news must stop. So Mr. President, in that move, have now launched a Media Literacy Institute so as to curb the rising rate of fake news. He now declares war on fake news. Do well to read through details of that story as it is available in the paper. Let's move on to the Daily Independent newspaper. To the Daily Independent newspaper in regards to Jos attack. Tinubu asks Plateau to dust off security white papers. Check out details of that story as available in the paper. IGP orders dismissal, prosecution of officers over killing of suspect in Delta. Now this is a tragic one that occurred on Sunday in Delta State, where some police officers were at a scene when one of the police officers unalived a suspect in Delta State. The suspect was the police PPRO mentioned that the suspect had gone to pick up a waybill, not knowing the contents according to him, but now opening it up, they got to see guns, now confirming what was inside the waybill package. The park heads and all that had to alarm the police. The police sent 5 police officers to the location instead of giving a fair hearing or taking him at least to the station and proceed to what next should be done in a sane society. This unfortunate, sorry to say, officers unalived this 28-year-old suspect in public. It's a very, very inhumane thing to do without a court verdict of execution or whatever. They took laws into their hands, and because of this sad, tragic incident, a whole lot of Nigerians, youths, and what have you have been making reposts, statements. There's been controversy going on in regards to this matter, which now brings us to the question of, is police truly your friend? Are the police really our friends, or there are people that we should see and warn off because we may or may not be safe with them? Let's not forget, the world is it's full of people, different characters, different mindsets. So when we're judging, we don't generalize it. We're going to say some police are not your friend, some are your friends. But whatever the case may be, it's a very tragic one, and I hope that such things don't repeat itself, because there's now a hashtag on Twitter, Instagram, what have you, social media platforms. Hashtag end police brutality, and some bringing up the fact of where enough lessons, where enough cries from the youth. Wasn't it passed during the End SARS protest? Why are we still having police brutality going on? So it's a whole lot, honestly. It's been a very sad one for well-meaning Nigerians, because they're putting themselves in, oh, this could have been me, this could have been my brother, this could have been my father, this could have been my relative. So it's a whole lot going on. We do hope that such waste of life doesn't repeat itself again. And on the part of the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Desu, he has ordered the dismissal and persecution of the officers over the killing of suspects in Delta State. So that's a very highly commendable one on the part of the police, the Inspector General of Police, the IGP, Olatunji Desu. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. Let's move on to the Daily Sun newspaper. Suspects public execution, IGP orders dismissal and trial of ASP and others, still in regards to the tragic incident that occurred with the 28-year-old suspect in Delta State. We have another story here. Nigeria's economy contracted in April, fell to 49.4. That's a statement from the Central Bank of Nigeria. Quite a story there. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. Let's move on to the Daily Trust newspaper. On the Daily Trust, Walida, court orders DSS to hand over operative. There's that's quite a story, something that happened in Jigawa State with a teenage girl. So do well to keep yourself more informed as you read through details of that story. Another tragic headline here. Pastor killed and 15 worshippers abducted in Ekiti. This is a very heartbreaking story. Imagine you are doing, we hear that it was a night vigil. You're worshipping God, giving thanks and praises to your Creator, and some people that are humans like you, whose Creator is same as yours, just comes and unalive you. It's a very tragic one. The rate of insecurity in Nigeria, it's becoming unbecoming. Please, I wouldn't even know how we can correct and sensitize people who go into unaliving their fellow human beings. It doesn't make sense at all. Quite a story that a pastor was killed in Ekiti State, and 15 worshippers were abducted in Ekiti State, and we hear that the abductors are now billing over 1 billion or so for the release. I mean, allegedly for the release of these worshippers. Quite a sad story there. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story. Let's move on to the New Telegraph paper. On the New Telegraph, we have a leading headline here. High Court bars INEC from recognizing ADC congresses. Yes, that's a story we had given a hint on earlier. To get yourself more details, read the paper. Xenophobic tensions. Protect 12 Nigerians in South Africa. FG tells Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa Cyril is the president of South Africa. So federal government is now telling the president to protect Nigerians in South Africa. You know, there's been a whole lot going on. This xenophobia attack that we had some years back, it's now showing signs again, as Nigerians are beginning to kill Nigerians in South Africa, and a whole lot. It's really heartbreaking, as there's been cries from the NIDCOM. NIDCOM have been doing their best. NIDCOM is the Nigeria in Diaspora Commission. Yeah, so they've been doing their part to ensure that this xenophobic attack is being curbed and totally stopped, because I mean, we're all Africans, we're all humans. What's the need for all of this tension, right? So still in regards to this, Nigerians in South Africa have now been complaining of not being able to open up their businesses, not being able to freely move about, you know, to go about their daily lives. And then the students are also scared to attend classes, to attend lectures, because, I mean, there's hints of xenophobic attack. You might just be going to class and then someone is saying, oh, you're Nigerian, and then they hurt you, harm you, and maybe kill you. Something sad might occur. So it's been a whole lot going on in South Africa. And let's not forget, on the part of student safety, the NANS, National Association of Nigerian Students, have also given their mind on this matter, that the South Africans, that the South African government should ensure that the lives of Nigerian students in South Africa be protected. I mean, or else they've also given a 48-day ultimatum to ensure that this xenophobic attack is curbed. It is totally stopped. If not, a retaliation would come. I mean, the scattering of South African-owned South African businesses operating in Nigeria. I mean, the MTN and MultiChoice. You know, all these. That's a concern raised by the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS, that the Nigerian students in South Africa, their lives and properties be protected. Do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of that story as available in the paper. Let's move on, shall we? To the business day, we have Nigeria's fish farmers reel from 8-year-old exports ban. You know, it's a whole lot going on in the business world. And then we have also that Dangote refinery IPO to test depth of Africa's $560 billion capital markets. So do well to keep yourself informed as you read through details of these and other stories. Now that concludes the newspaper review on this hour. You have been watching Newspaper Review on Niger Live TV. My name is Barbie Mkparu. Do stay with us as we bring you more updates during Globe in View. Thank you for watching.